Welcome to part 2 of my video on the Western Guard Camp and the Ancient Stone Chamber. In the previous video, we briefly passed through the camp on our way to explore the chamber. Now that we've thoroughly explored the chamber, we can head back to the camp to meet everyone properly and find out what's going on there. Let's start with an overview of the camp. The Western Guard Camp is a camp established by the Serendian army to protect Eastern Balanos from such threats as the imps in the area and the bandits who are active to the south. It is still unclear why Cliff, the greatest commander in Serendia, has been stationed here. Some whisper that the young and ambitious Lord Chamberlain Jourdain has something to do with it. A coastline lies to the north of the Western Camp, while the Ancient Stone Chamber and the Forest of Seclusion lie to the south. Many adventurers frequent the camp on their way to these locations, the Ancient Stone Chamber being number 1 on their list, which is where we were in the previous video. Around the camp we see wolves attacking people. With half the force sent to investigate the Ancient Stone Chamber, more and more soldiers are injured. Now, Luke, the trade manager here, sells ogre excrement as a trade item, and yet you can probably imagine where they get that from. The soldiers believe that ogre feces will keep out the monsters, which is why they caught one. We'll meet the people here, starting with Jamie, who we first talked to on the western side of the camp. From here, we'll rotate in a clockwise path until we've met everyone. Jamie, who guards the entrance to the Western Guard Camp, is actually not so good at fighting. However, he is more interested in the safety of the camp than anyone else and is especially concerned about the security of the women within. This may be why he is so trusted by Jarrett and Fania. Next up is Armstrong, who gained a lot of fame as he took part in many victorious battles with Cliff, but he has been stationed at the Western Guard Camp since his country became a vassal state of Calpheon. Recently, he has been working on his gathering ability, as well as any other method of making money in response to the lack of resources around the camp. He says he'll teach the techniques to adventurers, but nobody has ever actually learned anything from him. Around the corner is Klaus, a good friend of Tatros from Vale, who's very knowledgeable about weapons. He fought in Kron Castle with Tatros when Tatros was a rebel. After the first general of the rebels died, he helped convince the confused Tatros to settle down in Velia. He denies Captain Cliff's favourite phrase stating that loyalty cannot be planned, and tells passing travellers that all things change depending on the situation. Close by him is Miguel, a blacksmith at the Western Guard Camp. He trusts Captain Cliff deeply and is very loyal to him. He sells sturdy armour to travellers, and he's very proud of his muscles. He doesn't like wearing armour, saying that it is too stuffy. Moving on to Fania, who is known as the Angel of the Western Guard Camp for her warm smiles and giving spirit. Lately she has grown worried about the increasing number of injured coming into the camp. She is studying with Hessenvale in search of various ways to treat more patients. She often asks travellers for ingredients she needs. Moving southeast again through the camp, we can meet Hessenvale. Hessenvale learned about medical herbs by following her father, a herb gatherer, to the mountain when she was young. Hessenvale spent her childhood in Olvia. She later joined the military as a medic and was deployed to the Western Guard Camp. She distributes potions to the soldiers of the Western Guard Camp for free, using the money she earns selling potions to travellers. Next is Jarrett. Now we'll see her in a few other locations in the game, but over time we'll learn that she is the youngest daughter of the Lord of Heidel. She was the only surviving prodigy of Crucio Domongat after the Heidel Castle fire during the war, a fire she escaped with the help of Cliff. Having been raised as the sole object of affection for the Lord of Heidel, she is snooty and looks down on everyone except the disciplinarian Carolyn, who scolds her regularly for her attitude. Recently, she's been trying to learn more about the Ancient Stone Chamber, since her fiancé Jourdain has interest in black stones, and has requested ruin specialist Aidan investigate the chamber. Aidan took too long to come back after she sent him on an investigation, so she anxiously went to the stone chamber on her own to see what was afoot. But she seems lost without her attendant and doesn't quite know where to go. In fact, we can actually meet her close to the Ancient Stone Chamber entrance. There, she acts as the node manager for the location. Continuing on, we get to Captain Cliff. Cliff is a Heidel native stationed at the Western Guard Camp to guard the western border of Balanos. He was a driving force in the campaign against Calpheon initially, leading troops to victory twice. However, he reluctantly surrendered after Lord Crucio Domongat was captured by the enemy. The veteran that he is, he keeps an ever-vigilant eye on the rising star Jordine, while showing off his skills guarding the camp and capturing ogres. At the south of the camp is Duvain, a veteran soldier in charge of the South Gate. Efficiency is his middle name, and he accordingly hunts imps while taking minimal damage. Though he excels at hunting imps, he has trouble mentally dealing with other creepy things. He sometimes asks adventurers for a hand, and then pretends he does all the work himself. Heading back into the camp a bit is Luke.
Greetings. I'm Luke.
As the trade manager of the Western Guard camp, he does business with Vale trade manager, Baha, but they are not on friendly terms. Luke, a native of Balanos, has doubts about whether Baha, as an outsider, can be sincere in his contributions to the village. Luke trusts Chief Igor Bartali and believes that Igor will bring great benefits to the village, although he never expresses such. Next to Luke is Samuel. He is responsible for the stable at the camp. He used to do guard duty too, but with more and more adventurers visiting, he now exclusively manages the busy stable, since he knows more about horses than anyone else. Finally, we have Constant, also known as the homemaker of the Western Guard camp. Joined the military dreaming about restoring Eastern Balanos to the old days, when it was such a peaceful place. His hometown is Velia, and he aims to drive out the imps so the town can begin to trade with Olvia again. His only worry is his parents back home on the farm. He always feels sorry for not being able to visit often, given that it isn't too far from the camp. Yet with so little vacation, even short trips are impossible. Heading just outside the gates, we can see soldiers standing guard and engaging the imps that dare to wander too close. Looking out over the land surrounding the camp, we can see more imps patrolling. Observing the camp from a higher vantage point, we can see it is somewhat divided. The trade manager and stables are positioned close to the exits of the camp for ease of transporting goods and other resources. The north section of the camp is where we can find the blacksmith and arms dealers. Next to those is a larger tent where injured soldiers sit and lie down. There's definitely a lack of resources at the camp, as none of them have beds or anything of comfort to lie on. Behind these tents is the captured ogre. We see soldiers surrounding it as it strains and pulls on the chains keeping it in place. Now ogres don't usually appear in this area, they are mostly found in southwestern Calphion. How the ogre came to be in the area we don't really know, perhaps a lack of food, or maybe it simply decided to wander. However, we can learn that it became badly injured after an encounter with a horde of tree spirits to the south, which made capturing it a lot easier for the soldiers here. The southeastmost section contains many green tents, which are presumably where the majority of soldiers sleep. Here we also have the main base of operations. The large tent is where Captain Cliff and others discuss strategies and plan on how to deal with the many creatures causing problems in the area. In the tent, we see many weapons and armor sets on display. This must also be where the soldiers come to get geared up. A Serendian flag hangs above a large storage shelf with a variety of containers on it. Now that we've explored the stone chamber and know more about what is going on here at the Western Guard camp, we're ready to move on. The Western Guard camp is a location that if you play the game, you'll probably pass through a lot. I hope that watching this video has taught you something new about it. If you like this video and want to learn more about Black Desert Online with me, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video.